Dear Virginia, don't worry about me turning into a stuck-up rich brat because, believe it or not, I'm pretty sure that's how most people here see me anyway. At first, when they heard that an American was coming to their school, they thought I would be a wild heathen, but today in class, I showed them all up. So, long story short, Lord Grabiner, not sure if it's Hieronymous or his father, hired a French maid to care for me while I'm here. Miss Minchin, who is the headmaster of the school, figured it was because Lord Grabiner wants me to learn French. I guess no one told her that I already speak a little bit of French, because I learned it at my old school before I came to Iris Academy. Anyway, she gave me a really basic French book on verb tenses to study until the French tutor got there. I tried explaining that I already knew French and wanted something more advanced, but she didn't want to listen to me, and then when she saw me sulking behind the book, she started to lecture me in front of all the other students about we had to learn to do things, even if we didn't want to do them. Then the French teacher came in, and we started conversing in fluent French back and forth to one another, and her face got so red, and she just stood there gawking while all the other students giggled. I just keep telling myself that I'm only here for a year, and then Hieronymous and I will be together again. If it makes you feel any better, at least you're going to be a much better witch than I will be upon graduation. Although this is supposed to be a school for magical noble families, I think they expect magic to be taught at home because we're not learning any spells at all. I have one class on how to read poetry and how to recite it, and how to discuss fine literature in social circles. I have another class on dancing. I can go for walks if I want, but it rains here most days, and there's no sports club or anything like that. We also literally have tea, where we learn how to politely discuss social topics and how to be good entertainers if we get visitors. Yeah, I suppose these are all things that I have to learn if I want to be his Viscountess and manage his estate, but I expected that in 10 years from now, not next year. Hopefully, Hieronymus won't be so busy that he won't teach me magic anymore. Anyway, let me know how freshman orientation week is going. Tori. The next day, I was invited to court in Lavinia's room. Considering Jessie was her only loyal subject, her court was small, but depending on who her family was, it had the possibility of being much larger in the future. "Hello, Lavinia," I say as I walk through her open doorway. I beg your pardon." Lavinia looks affronted, but I have no idea why. "Your pardon?" I repeat blankly. "That is not begging," she replies, and suddenly I have a whole new appreciation for how lost Beige felt when he first came to America and had to learn all of our strange jargon. "I'm sorry, I don't understand," I say simply, while Jessie giggles behind her hand. "No," Lavinia agrees. "It is evident that there are a great many things you do not understand. That is only to be expected, however, seeing as how you have been raised in the savage outlands. However, here in England, we observe manners." "Okay," I say blankly, still trying to figure out what offense I committed. "You are too forward, Lady Grabiner," she replies. "I have not invited you to use my Christian name." I'm about to tell her that I don't even know her Christian name, when it dawns on me that she's talking about her first name. But Miss Minchin already introduced us. "Knowing one's name is not sufficient reason to use it," Lavinia insists as she literally looks down her nose at me. "A friend would call me Lavinia. You and I are not yet friends." "Oh, Lavy, she is just a child," Jessie replies, and I think she means it to be an insult. "Children use names freely." "This is a school for young ladies," Lavinia continues. "Even if she is young enough to be excused, she ought to practice. She will need all the polish that she can get. After all, Miss Minchin has set me to be her role model. It is my responsibility to correct her mistakes. I want to tell her how we settle differences in America, but instead I just roll my eyes and try to channel what Hieronymous would want me to do. Even if I didn't like them, he would want me to at least make an attempt to be nice and play along. I beg your apology, Miss Herbert, I begin as I do a small curtsy. I was too familiar. Lavinia waves her hand dismissively. You are forgiven, of course. Remember, if you truly are the wife of a great noble, that everything that matters in the world takes place within miles of this city. Trade within the city, government and parliament, and society within the palace. The place you came from, America, is a distant heatherland, filthy and rife with disease and violence. You should be very glad that you have escaped it. Thank you for your instruction, I say. I think that is enough social education for one day. I best be going. I do another small curtsy as I turn and head out of the room. I needed to take a shower immediately, if not sooner. However, as I get into the hallway, Ermengarde stops me. Did you see that little blue and yellow bird on the way back from church? Ermengarde asks. I wish that I had a pet bird like that. That was just a blue tit, Lavinia says, coming into the hallway with Jessie following at her heels. They're hopelessly common. She suddenly turns to me and grins mischievously. Maybe you can send Tori up a tree to catch one for you. Ermengarde just shakes her head, either not understanding the insult aimed my way or simply choosing to ignore it. No, those are country birds. You don't really see them in cities like London. There aren't enough trees. Are there a lot of different species of birds in England? I ask. I don't think so, Jessie replies. Are there birds that are all blue in America? There's a blue jay, I offer. I know I've seen some birds that have bright blue feathers and some that just have blue accents, but I don't know much about birds. Or much about anything else, really, Lavinia adds, and Jessie snickers behind her. I just roll my eyes again. I'm not sure why Lavinia has it out for me. Maybe it's just due to my room and my new nobility status. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to compete with her to be the top student when I would honestly rather be back at Iris Academy, eating pizza and playing soccer and going to the arcade on weekends with my friends. I've always wanted to see how people lived in other parts of the world, but this was starting to be a bit much, even for me. Fortunately, as I get back to my room, I notice that there's another letter waiting for me. I really want to shower to scrub Lavinia's insults off of me, but I can always take a peek at the letter now and then think of what to reply while I bathe. I take one look at the familiar cursive and immediately drop into my desk chair. It's from Hieronymous.